Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Amala Ekpunobi absolutely destroys this ridiculous woke professor who unfortunately does teach your kids. And she does this live on Dr. Phil in spectacular fashion. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at Native Path, whose collagen peptides, amongst other products, can help you live a fuller, healthier lifestyle, but more on that later. Now, let's dive in to the video.
Okay, but a lot of the time that people that I've seen are called out for this, it's not that they were making fun or mocking in some way. It was just that they had adopted a fashion or a style or whatever.
I would say that's a performance. So if somebody's culture and somebody's identity becomes a performance, then it's reductive. So if you're reducing, for example, say the civil rights movement to an afro, and you wear that, or you wear dreadlock wigs, that Rastafarians may wear, you do that because it's edgy, because it's cool, but ultimately because it's not you, and you're getting some kind of cultural capital from that by doing it.
And who's hurt by that?
Well, it's not a matter of who's hurt by it, it's who's being disrespected by it.
Well, who's being disrespected by it?
A whole culture of people whose identities are wrapped in whatever you're dressing into and can then take off.
Amala, you don't agree?
I don't, no.
You think worrying about appropriation is a waste of time?
I think not only is it somewhat a waste of time, but it's nearly impossible. You just mentioned there are nearly hundreds of ways that one could appropriate somebody else's culture or their livelihood. And to expect any one human being to keep on top of that throughout their entire life, I think, is an unrealistic ask. And I think imitation is a form of flattery. I appreciate my food by eating it. I appreciate the hair that I wear by wearing it, by putting on the clothes that I wear. And every single item around us in this room could probably be attributed to a certain culture. Do we have to constantly worry about what culture we gain things from?
Does intention have anything to do with it?
Well, I guess I didn't hear anything about anybody worrying about it. What I hear about when I think about and talk about cultural appropriation is people becoming more aware of it. We could say the same thing about racism, sexism, homophobia. Just because you can't solve it and don't see it at every corner doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of it and trying to address it.
Wow, do you really put those on the same level?
I absolutely do.
Racism and sexism, you put it on the same level as cultural appropriation?
That's exactly.
So if somebody wears their hair like you're wearing it, you put that on the same level as racism?
Absolutely. I put that on the same level as white supremacy, because white supremacy is intersectional.
I don't want to insult this professor. He is clearly articulate, but is this man insane? And here's what I mean. He started his whole logical argument with saying that you have reduced civil rights to an afro. And so if you wear that, or if you braid your hair in an African style, you're appropriating an entire culture and demeaning it. I'm sorry, but that first logical point nowhere reaches the end point of his argument. There is no connection. There is no attempt to connect the two. What does wearing... If I somehow was able to sport an afro, that would be quite a look now, wouldn't it? If I was able to sport an afro, somehow, according to this professor, I have boiled down civil rights to an afro, and I'm now appropriating someone else's culture and thereby demeaning it. Someone, please in the comments, tell me how you possibly connect those two dots. Okay? Just logically, that doesn't exist. You have to tie it in somehow. There has to be a middle point somewhere. But there's not in this argument. Hey y'all, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors, Native Path. Created by Dr. Chad out of Austin, Texas, he realized that there was something deeply wrong in this medical community. And instead of focusing on nutrition, they were just focused on serving big pharma. So he left and created this new company called Native Path. And what do they do over there? They sell something called collagen. Now, what is collagen? Well, it's not magic fairy dust. It's not this muscle milk. It's not calcium rich. Instead, it is an odorless, flavorless, dissolves completely in water powder that you can mix. And unlike iocane powder, this stuff has massive health benefits. It can help your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your skin, your hair follicles, even your fingernails. This stuff is absolutely packed with the nutrients that we lose so constantly in our modern diet. This stuff is a fantastic supplement, can help you live a healthier life. And if you go to this link down here below, you will find up to 45% off of certain products. That is how much Native Path cares about your health. So go check them out, link in the description below. And now, back to regularly scheduled programming. So I don't understand why you even started with this. But then, just the whole idea that I am appropriating someone else's culture. So, I get an opportunity to live my authentic self. If I wanted to braid out my hair, what's wrong with that? This man's answer is, well, it demeans a culture. No, it doesn't. All right, just because I'm sporting a look doesn't mean that I am making any statement about someone else's culture. 20 years ago, you know what? Back in my college days, there was a huge movement of the left of just leave people alone, let people be happy, let people live their lives. We went from those college days, back in 2012, that's when I started college. I heard that constantly. Just 4 or 5 years ago, when woke really came into its own and started actually punching down, started having more places of power, all of a sudden we're being told that you need to stay in your box, okay? You are a white European male living in America. You cannot enjoy and sport someone else's culture, all right? The funny thing is if I wanted to act Japanese, if I wanted to wear a kimono and have a katana and practice the Bushido code, I don't think these leftists would have a problem with it. Mainly because these lefties think in terms of power structure, and that's the only way they view the world. And they view African Americans as traditionally oppressed. And this is why so many people on that side are so pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, arguably anti-Jewish in general, because they look at those populations and see, oh, those poor Palestinians, they've been discriminated against for so long. Yeah, because they keep on trying to sabotage the place. That's the situation that's going on. Yes, Israel is doing just having dumb policies, particularly in the West Bank. What they do to Palestinians out there does violate some treaties and laws. It's okay to say that. But what these lefties think and what these lefties hear and what they see everything in power structure, and that leaves them completely out of the running for looking at something and saying, well, this is actually a beautiful work of art. There is no subjectivity. It's only the rigidity that you must kowtow to. You must believe in the structure. You are not allowed to wear something that is outside of your culture. That is fundamentally terrible for the idea of human rights and liberties. We have the right to life, liberty, technically it's property, but I further like the idea of the right to pursue happiness. That is what it means for a man to be free under the law. And so if I want to braid out my hair, which I would never do, that look would never work for me, all right? Weird Al is pretty much the only person who could pull that off. And if you know the references, you're awesome. But I can't pull off that look, so I never would. But if I live in a country where I'm being told that you can't do that, then I don't live in a free country. What happened to the left? It went from just let people be free and live their own lives, and it's gone down the slippery slope to you will eat the bugs, you will live in the pod, and you will respect my pronouns. And as a matter of fact, we will trans your kids. That is what is going on right now. This has nothing to do with freedom. This has everything to do with power. And Amala is out here trying to remind this dude that you've taken something too far, you've gone ridiculous with it, and now you are taking away my right to expression. And that's ultimately what this is. And that's not their end goal. No. That's not their end goal. Their end goal is to provide justice. At least they think they're doing that. All they end up doing is taking away your right to free speech, your right to wear what you want to wear, your right to get a tattoo, your right to braid your hair, your right to even put coloring in your hair. Okay? That's what their ultimate goals end up doing. And that is the fundamental problem. And for people whose the ends justify the means, the ends aren't really justifiable even if the means are good. I get what these people are trying to do, and I would even call it noble if it wasn't so smug, self-righteous, and ultimately an attempt to take away my freedom to pursue happiness. That's what this professor believes in, and I fundamentally stand against it. And I hope you do too. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.